Game Awards popped off.
That was the news.
If I may say so myself. So for this Salient Points episode 10, this Thursday/Friday episode. It's gonna be a Friday episode, you know. It's gonna get up there on Friday.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm your host, Carlos Macias. Your host, Carlos Macias, along with
co-host Dalan Kirkwood.
Dalan Kirkwood for Salient Points. Yeah, I know. You know what? You were you were in class during the Game Awards, but it was pretty good. There's some good announcements that came.
Well, I did come out of my class with my teacher, and we saw these people sitting at a table, and we were like, "What are they playing?" And we realized they were watching the Video Game Awards on a little tablet. Big enough.
Congratulations, Jeff Keighley.
Was it Mario Maker? They were watching this Mario Maker.
You know what though? We got to start, man. We got to start with the biggest thing. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima's / Norman Reedus. Yeah, Norman Reedus. Daryl from The Walking Dead. If you might remember him as Daryl. Death Stranding. What did you make of this 8-minute trailer, man? You gotta understand, like I'm
not sure if you're frustrated or excited it.
You're watching the Game Awards, right? And all the announcements are like 30 seconds, a minute. You're
2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
This is good. And then you're like, okay, we come in with that slow swoop, that slow camera zoom, or that slow camera panning. It was like, okay, let me sit down for this. Let me sit down, sit back, relax. This is a Hideo Kojima production situation.
It definitely was. You felt it.
You did feel it. You felt
the Hideo
what
in
did
it.
You? I mean, it was a
Hideo.
trailer. So you know what? It's very reminiscent of. Hideo's been working on this for a while, and I doubt they're working on these things like simultaneously. Right? Oh, they're working on them simultaneously, but not together.
Well,
right?
I mean, he's got his own production company.
Did it not remind you? Did it not give you a sense of the trailer? So they're kind of out. It seems like maybe they're scientists, or they're either scavenging or something like that. Norman Reedus' character.
Actually, it seemed like they were trying to. Well, yeah, I could say scientists. It seemed like they were trying to collect a human sample of some sort.
Okay.
But
did it give you it gave me the sense of like we just watched this Blade Runner 2049.
No, I did not.
Not the whole
at all.
No, not the whole movie. The scene where what's the guy's name? The wrestler from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Drax or whatever.
Baptiste.
Yeah, Baptiste. He's in Blade Runner, and there's a scene in there where he's out in kind of in a farm type situation where it's very bleak and dark, and it's like, okay, we're doing some investigations or some farming. It didn't give me that sense. It gave me that eerie sense. Like it really did.
I was too focused on these invisible monsters moving around, and I'm over here thinking, man, they just went serious War of the Worlds in this game. Yeah. That's what it reminded me was War of the Worlds.
For me, it was Blade Runner, very Blade Runner-esque.
And then I got thrown for a loop when it just dropped into the sunken place. I was like, what is happening?
Is this Get Out, the sequel?
I didn't know what was happening anymore. And then I saw that baby thing going on. That's why I figured it was about Sample, because he was trying really hard to keep hold of this baby figure that seemed like it went into his body.
Had you not seen the original trailer? You seen the original trailer, right?
I saw the original teaser like way long ago.
Well, I mean, you're talking Kojima. These teasers are like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes long.
The one that I originally saw was like a 30-second teaser.
Really? You didn't see it? It plays on this theme too. So that scene with the baby, that he's kind of in a container type of situation, or that is sort of connected to their body somehow, right? They're carrying this fetus or whatever around. They play on it on the first trailer, but they're kind of underground, or they're kind of hiding from the military or something like that. And you got Guillermo del Toro walking around, and then you got I believe his name is Mads Mikkelsen, the guy who did Hannibal in the TV series. You got him in it, and he's kind of like a shadowy figure. And he's the main guy. So there's some crazy Kojima Productions type thing. You know what? And I think the thing with this is he doesn't have Konami to hold him back anymore. Well, he doesn't have the Metal Gear Solid series to kind of hold up. Now it's like, oh, just be weird.
Wait. The Metal Gear Solid series was his. That was his baby.
Well, how about this? It was established. It was an established series where even so he was getting away with a lot of weird stuff in it, right?
Yeah, on his own.
But it was an established series where it's like, oh, it's the military-industrial complex, and then he threw it
he did have to tie a lot of history.
He had to tie a lot of it, and a lot of loose ends were like, you're actually, to be honest, while you're trying to tie in these loose ends, you're actually opening up can of worms all over the place. It's like, wait, that doesn't tie into it anymore. So we'll get another one of those like world building. It's very strong, man. It's like very striking visuals. You got the apparatus that they have in their back. The kind of it looks like it's a scanner maybe, or it can scan these.
Oh yeah. The thing that indicates that there are monsters nearby made me feel like Alien was happening right there.
So good.
So good.
So good, but so you finish watching like, what did I just watch? I really don't understand. You kind of get a sense of it. Maybe it's sort of a Children of Men type of thing where we're trying to keep humanity going, and this is one of the ways to do it, get a fetus and then but it's still funny, like all the little nods that Kojima still throws at you.
I can tell you right now, it is a world where Psycho Mantis lost control.
Okay, I mean, you did see a huge giant figure, right? It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me.
That makes complete sense.
But it's funny because it seems like he's still not going to lose his sense of humor, because you got that scene where you're actually going through Norman Reedus' throat, and at some point you see kind of the baby pop out, and he puts his thumb up. I'm like, seriously, good job on this wink, a wink and a nod, you know? It's like him saying, like, it's still a game.
It's still a video game.
But you know what? Looking forward to it. The only thing is, I mean, it is a teaser. It's sort of, he's building the world and he's, trying to get it going. How's it going to play? That's one of the things where it's like, we still haven't seen any.
We're just going to have to wait. It's most likely going to be another type of sneaking game. That's probably his next big sneaking game.
You think so? You think it'll be a sneaking game?
Yeah, because he can't really build on the tactical espionage game that he originally
but that's
built.
what I'm saying. He doesn't have that baggage anymore. He doesn't have the Metal Gear Solid baggage anymore. This is a brand new mixed bag that he's creating.
No, the brand new mixed bag that he created was a tactical espionage game. That was his
but this
thing.
is the next thing.
I know it's the next thing, but I'm saying that he has perfected that.
I don't know if you can't say it's perfected.
Well, I can
really
say
can't.
he's like the innovator of it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe he got there first.
He got there first. He expanded on it first.
Yeah,
he makes it look the best. He's got the biggest engine for it. And now that he can't use Metal Gear, he's got
the attention to detail.
Now that he doesn't have Metal Gear anymore, I mean, there are other companies that want to try and use his engine to be able to incorporate it in their game. Yeah. But he wants his own game as well.
It's such a trippy thing though, because you see him getting interviewed and everything. I think recently somebody was like saying, so how are you gonna promote this thing? How are you gonna go about it? And he's like, how do you know it hasn't started? How do you know this isn't it? And then he'll go off like,
he gets in your mind.
And the whole thing about Death Stranding, apparently that ties into a real world like phenomena where you have these strandings, these well strandings, where they actually end up on the beach and they're stranded. So he's kind of gets this like, well, that's always fascinating to me that the well strandings, they just kind of shore up and they're dead there or whatever. And so and I was actually waiting for the well, and there is a well in that trailer somewhere.
The underwater well.
Yeah, I was like, okay, there's the well.
When he's in the sunken place.
Yeah, when he's in the sun. So looking forward to it. I mean, the next thing's got to be gameplay or something. Well, you know what?
No,
it's Kojima. It's got to be whatever he wants it to be.
Yeah, it's got to be whatever he wants it to be. Yeah. So he has the choice between another cinematic trailer just to get us more hyped, a gameplay trailer, or a storyline trailer.
I mean, we're kind of...
Honestly, we'd probably go for a gameplay trailer first to introduce us to what the gameplay would be like, and then probably introduce the storyline thereafter. Because there's got to be an order to operations. Hopefully, Kojima doesn't... Kojima cares a bit about that, because, it's Kojima. He could do whatever he wants.
Well, you know what? For a game that's doing like 2025, we sure got a big taste of it. So this game is not out anytime soon, man.
This is a nasty time frame.
This is not... You know what? And Sony's like footing the bill, too. And they're like, you know what? You're our genius. Keep showing gameplay. Keep selling some PlayStations. We're good. As long as people are like, that's coming out on PlayStation, they'll keep buying the systems. They're like, I'm waiting for that Death Stranding. It's not going to be out till like PS 5.5, Dalan. It's not going to be out till like PlayStation 5 Pro.
Hey, the other thing I got to say about it is Konami dropped the ball when they let him go.
There had to be, my understanding is it had to kind of go both ways. I mean, the thing is, when you have talent like that, you don't let it go, even if he might be at fault for something.
Yeah.
Because people aren't that clear, right? It's still kind of like...
You could have some
disagreements.
Yeah, disagreements, some clash in there. But you don't just let one of your most prized possessions go. And I can't call
ornery as he might be. I guess.
Yeah. I don't want to call Hideo a possession.
Well, because there's some mysticism behind these creators, right? They can do no wrong. They're ill-tempered.
Oh no, they can do wrong.
No, what I'm saying in the eyes of like the public, right? It's like Hideo can do no wrong.
Tell that to Mighty Number 9.
Metal Gear Solid. What does that have to do? He
that
messed
was very
up.
Wrong.
Yeah, he messed up. But I'm saying as far as they can't do no wrong in the eyes of the public, whereas you're wrong because you're the publisher. You're the big bad publisher. But I'm excited. Sony's footing the bill. So we got Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro was up there on the stage at one point. So somehow he's got to be involved, and he was in the first trailer of it. So,
I assume he's the one that creates like the idea for the monsters themselves, because that seemed really Guillermo del Toro.
You know what? As a Mexican myself, I like seeing that kind of that we see prominent Mexican directors or actors in the spotlight like that. So I'm like, that's cool. I'd like to see what happens next. So that was Death Stranding. The next thing was the Champions Ballad.
Champions Ballad for Breath of the Wild.
For the Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the
Wild.
It looked
okay. It looks okay.
That's the second DLC pack for Breath of the Wild.
I believe
Zelda.
So yeah.
There was a whole lot of things happening in that trailer, and I saw a bunch of characters that I can tell you right now I did not recognize. But then again, I didn't get a chance to actually play the game.
They're a little spoilery. That if you haven't beaten the game, or the thing is, they get very spoilery. Like if you've beaten one of them,
one of the arcs.
So I'm
gonna call them arcs.
I would you could say it's kind of in a 5-stage type of story arc. So once you get to one of those nodes or whatever you want to call it, that beat, you kind of know what you're seeing, and you're like, "What is that? What's happening?"
Well, I did see some other people playing the game, and I was looking at it. I was like, "Okay, these are some races I may not know too well, with the exception of like the Zoras and the Runia."
That's up apparently. It's part of the season pass, where it's a DLC. It doesn't really give you too much besides the fact that it seems like they call them guardians. In case you should know, it's been 9 months. So these are the 4 guardians, and they kind of bandy together. And was Ganon on your side in the trailer? It doesn't seem like that, right? So you're banding together with the guardians, but the thing that kind of tripped me up was that bike, man. It's the motorcycle.
It's terrible. You don't have a horse anymore. You have a motorcycle.
Terrible.
First they give you all these new costumes that you could actually get into. Yeah. He hopped on that horse looking like he was coming straight out of the regiment. I don't know. Not the regiment, the regime. The
Revenant?
Sure, why not?
Who's in this movie that you're trying to reference?
The regime. It's like a 17.
Okay, you're not talking about the Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, I'm not talking about.
Because he had a horse in that movie too.
Yeah, I know he had a horse in that movie, but did he have a beret?
He took comfort. Inside that horse's body, which is pretty graphic. All right, but anyways, what do you think of the bike that they showed? So they showed Link on a bike.
I combined the thought of the bike with the thought of his costume changes. I'm like, man, somebody could go real Mad Max in this game now. That's what it's going to turn into. Someone's going to
Can we agree that the bike looks terrible and goodbye horses? Can we agree on that?
I could agree that the bike is very out of place.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to agree with. I can't say the bike looks terrible, but the bike does not belong in this game.
That being said, I'm going to ride that bike everywhere. I don't care how goofy it looks.
I'm going to ride it everywhere. I'm going to go up mountainsides. I'm going to watch my steed fall off of a cliff. I wonder if it could explode.
The horses have a lot of drawbacks. You have to you only get 3 hits or 3 boosts of the horse. So it's kind of like, you know what, the bike, I shouldn't have to do that.
Unless will you run out of gas?
That's what I was about to say. Will you run out of gas? So that, that's pretty exciting. That's out already in case you guys are interested, the new DLC. The other thing that I'm pretty sure you're excited about is The Soul Still Burns. Soul Calibur 6 in 2018.
How are you going to say it like that? You made it seem so
how would you say?
Right
go ahead,
now.
Dalan. Go ahead.
Oh, man.
How would you go about it?
I wouldn't even say it like that. I'd just say Soul Calibur.
I would say The Soul Still Burns.
Oh, goodness.
I'm pretty pumped about this. I've been looking. Soul Calibur is the closest to like a Virtua Fighter to me. You know how I feel about Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter is like the perfect fighting game. How about this? 3D perfect. Okay, 3D fighting.
You say it's the perfect 3D fighting game. Yet they have not made another one. It is not in any of the video game awards. But Tekken 7 showed up, and you don't like Tekken 7.
Dalan combo nonsense. Get that out of here.
There you go.
But so for me, the pinnacle of 3. I don't know 2D. I don't know 3D as well either. But I probably know 3D more because I really have loved myself some Virtua Fighter. I'm okay.
Are you trying to play? Are you trying to play that?
Whatever.
Movie?
So Virtua Fighter, to me, is like the pinnacle of 3D fighting game. Soul Calibur 6 is close, very, very close to how good it is. I mean, it's kind of, you could do the dodging, the 8-way, to call it 8-way directional. Yeah. You could do blocking, you could do the shields.
You can't really jump.
You can do jumping, but you can do jumping. Well, you can't really jump as much.
Block and press up and hop.
Well, it's much the same as Virtua Fighter. You don't really jump, but you can jump or whatever. But wait, you're not a Soul Calibur?
I am a Soul Calibur player. I played.
You sound like a hater right now.
No. I have certain types of respect for Soul Calibur, but they have lost their own steam. That is my problem with Soul Calibur. So every time a Soul Calibur came out, since Soul Blade, like before that, all right, ever since they've been coming out with those games, I was excited every single time
First
it
one
came
was
out.
Soul Edge, right?
Yeah, there was Soul Edge, Soul
Blade,
Blade, then
Soul
it turned
Calibur.
into Soul Calibur, and then it
On
just took off from
Dreamcast,
there.
which was on Dreamcast.
Yeah, which
right?
was on
Soul
Dreamcast, Soul
Calibur.
Calibur 1 and 2, then Soul Calibur
So what would
3.
what would you expect? You played 5, right? Soul Calibur 5?
I did. Okay, here's what I got to say about this, is that I bought Soul Calibur 3. I was super excited about it because it was a great rendition of the game. Then Soul Calibur 4. I was super excited about that. It lost a touch a little bit. Some of the people looked a little funky, but I was able to deal with that. Then Soul Calibur 5 came out, and I was like, what did they do to our game?
What was bad? What was bad?
They put all kinds of mechanics into the game that was unnecessary, that it was too convoluted to try and do half the moves. Don't get me wrong, they had most of their base moves, but they like deformed the way that the characters originally looked. They put some funky characters that didn't actually, that really shouldn't be in that place, with the exception, I guess, Ezio Auditore. They threw him into that game.
Well, you're talking about the character. What about gameplay wise?
Well, when it comes to that's what it's about, though. Is the characters is the game.
Well, yeah,
but you're talking about the mechanics.
It is, but the mechanics ultimately, you can have a character that looks terrible, but he's a fast character and can dodge and can move quickly and. Well, all right. You're talking maybe aesthetics. What the mechanics?
So for the mechanics, there was the thing that they started in Soul Calibur 4, I think, where you could actually break off their armor. And you had to do the Soul Crush mode. And then when you do Soul Crush mode, you have to actually be in like Soul Gem mode in order to do your ultimate attack.
What can change?
And it takes forever to do that.
What can change? For 6, what would you like to see when? Because Soul Calibur 6 is supposed to be out 2018.
Take away the Soul Gem mode. That's it.
Okay.
If they take away that Soul Gem thing and just allow the armor break and your defenses start to get weaker as you get beaten down.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while since the Soul Calibur. What, 5 was...
5
PS3
was
360.
No. 5 was the it was PS3 and they had their Soul. Oh man, I can't remember the name of that game. It was like a Soul Blade 1.5 that was on like the PSP and online.
It's like a free to play.
Yeah, it was a free to play
or something like that, right? Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that one. It was like Broken Blade or something like that. Soul Calibur Broken Blade.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the name, but
it was something like that. It was Broken something. All right.
Yeah.
But that game, you had to earn characters, and you didn't have very many characters that you could earn, and you had to put way too many hours in it. Some of the characters you had to buy.
So Soul Calibur 6, we're getting down with it.
Soul Calibur 6. I'm still gonna play it just to see if they redeemed themselves, but. I'm not as excited as I was for part 5.
You know what? Now that I think about it, the biggest announcements at the Game Awards was Japanese games, right? It was like you got the Legend of Zelda DLC, Death Stranding, Soul Calibur, also Bayonetta 1 and 2 are coming to Switch February 16, 2018.
I still need to get around to actually beating
and not only that, right? Bayonetta 1 and 2 to Switch. I believe 1 is on there and then 2 you have to download, or one of them. I think it might be 1 that you have to download. Whatever it is,
you have
to
the
download
Switch. I can't say much for that.
But did you ever play Bayonetta? It's a platinum.
I did
game.
play Bayonetta. I bought it. I bought both of them when they originally. Well, I couldn't buy the second one when it first came out. I had to wait until that got ported. But I played the first one because I bought that one, had it for a while. It was one of those games where it was. I was actually coming off of my Devil May Cry high.
It has that. Yeah, it does have that sense. But speaking of like, we talked about the rumors of Soul Calibur and Devil May Cry. This was it. Well, it was Soul Calibur 6. We were spot on, or the rumors were spot on, I should say.
Yeah.
But Devil May Cry, that was a Devil May Cry HD collection is what came out for that. So it wasn't a new Devil May Cry. It was Devil May Cry collection for PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, Devil May Cry collection Ben came out though.
Yeah, for PS3 or 360. No, this is for PS4 and Xbox One.
I could have sworn they relaunched it for PS4 already.
As far as I know, it was announced today, yesterday. This week, it was announced that's it. So the rumors were not for a new Devil May Cry. It was for HD Remix. I mean, we still have PlayStation Experience this weekend. Maybe there's some announcement. They got to have something, right? They have to, Sony
if Devil May Cry is still selling their games fairly well, then I would assume at some point they're going to make a Devil May Cry 5. They just need to get a good director to actually make one. Pick up Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, to finish off the Bayonetta thing. So there's a Bayonetta 3
Bayonetta 3. I saw that teaser.
Yeah. Which should, hey, we're getting plenty of these Platinum games are kind of like, this is their free ride. This is like Nintendo's like, you know what? We could use an action platform as sort of adult, leaning towards more adult type content. We could use some action platform. Go ahead, keep going. Like, we'll bankroll you. That's fine. Because were they all on Wii U? No. One was on PS3 and 360, right?
One
PS3 originally, PS3 360,
came on PS3
and then it like bombed, or maybe it didn't.
No, it didn't bomb.
Whatever it was, it didn't sell well enough to where they had to make an exclusive deal with Nintendo.
It trickled off because people were coming off their DMC high.
I'd have to. I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'm not really sure. When did Devil May Cry 3 come out, or Devil May Cry 4? I'm pretty sure it was like
Devil
a
May
year
Cry
previous.
4.
Whatever it was. I mean, I understand what you're saying. If you were playing it during the same time, I don't think they were released during the same time.
No, they weren't released at the same time.
What high were they getting off of?
What I'm saying is that the people that really loved the Devil May Cry 4 that came out,
but
they
if
really
you're
played it. But it was the same gameplay. Yeah, it was. If you were playing back to back.
At Bayonetta 3, Nintendo's bankrolling this series, so it's kind of like, go for it. We really don't care how much it sells. It gives us another game. And so
I'm down to try it. It looks like the witch, the Scarlet. I don't even know what to call her, because I don't know what her whole deal was with the whole witch thing and the hair, her whole body.
Which is what I was saying. It's a little more adult leaning, because the more you attack, the more hair like uncovers her body.
In this teaser, it looked like she broke. Yeah. So I'm down to see how this darker story.
So next thing that we have on this list here, there's a game that you seemed interested in,
GTFO.
Yes, and it's from the interesting thing for these guys. From this is it's a 4-player cooperative game from the Payday folks. Now, if you don't know, Payday was a 4-player cooperative game also, but you were doing heists. So there was a lookout, there was a person actually breaking into the safe, and then there's the heavy. But this one looks like it's more of a horror type game, more of a, not necessarily Left 4 Dead, but Left 4 Dead was also 4-player co-op, and this one seems like maybe it takes a little bit from that. It seemed like very zombie-ish.
As I was watching, I was thinking, man, if Alien Colonial Marines was made right,
that's what it would look like.
This would be it.
It looks good.
So if Alien Colonial Marines was made right, you'd have that grittiness with your co-op friends going into a small area and you're trying to open up some kind of a vault, and then suddenly you get attacked by a bunch of monsters. Yeah. Of course, in this case, it's not the aliens that I came to know and love, but you're
getting a good imitation.
You get an imitation of monsters coming at you. That's why I'm saying, man, if they did it right, this could have been it.
Now, monsters coming at you. What was that? From Software tease, Shadows Die Twice. So it's a From Software game, which is probably like the spiritual successor to, like, say, a Bloodborne or Dark Souls or Demon Souls.
Is that what it's supposed to be? Because that teaser didn't say anything.
Describe the teaser for us, Dalan, if you will.
Describe the teaser. Yeah. You have a staff. Somebody twisted it. It cracked. That's the end of the teaser.
Yeah, but you're cracked and it looks like bone, flesh and bone. So it's not like just a staff like made of bone or ivory or whatever. It's like
it looked like a magical staff from The Witcher that was infused by something that a witch made, and somebody
flesh and blood.
Yeah, flesh and blood. But I'm just like, this tells me nothing.
It was a little gross.
This tells me nothing.
It was a little gross, but a little. That's what they're working on next. From Software, I guess.
That's what they're working on next.
What do you think it would be? I mean, From Software really only works on two things, and I really hate to say this because you brought this up, and it's really the most randomest thing you've ever brought up. But they've only worked on like Bloodborne, that kind of game, and. What is the other one, Dalan?
Dragon Age.
No, the Armed Forces games or whatever it's called. The The robot, the mech robot.
Oh,
game.
you actually brought that.
That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about Armored Core.
Armored Core. So they really have only worked on 2 things. So
didn't From Software do? Oh no, I'm thinking of BioWare. My bad.
So yeah, I mean, it was a very, very, very short tease. It was like what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds at the most. So, we got that to look forward. We'll see when that.
I'm looking forward to knowing what is happening.
Yeah, because I was asking you, what do you think is closer to Bloodborne or Dark Souls? But it's
honestly,
you don't know.
Honestly, for the type of company they are and the way that they've been selling their money, it's most likely in this case going to be closer to Bloodborne because they already made 3 Dark Souls games.
Whatever it is, it's got to be some Victorian era, steampunk /
Oh, you never know, though. They could go to any time that they want.
Yeah. It's going to be the same Victorian
They're probably everybody's going to be dead, and you're in an undead world.
The butcher barber of Sweeney Todd or whatever you call it type situation.
Good job. Wrong.
You know what? That was a good moment on the... Which is one of those things where, I thought the show was really good. He actually kept it under... Well, he said it was going to be 2 hours, but it was more like 2 hours, 40 minutes or so.
He tried.
But he tried, and every year he tries, and this was better. At least we didn't have Hydro Man or the chic Hydro shaver thing guy. That was so we didn't have Hydrobot. I think that's what they were called. We didn't have Hydrobot this year, but we did have a cool moment. So it's one of those things take a step forward, take a couple steps back. So we did have the director of A Way Out, which looks like a pretty awesome game, actually. Joseph Ferris, and he went up there next to Jeff Keighley, and he was cussing up
hard.
a stone. He was cussing up. We try to keep it clean here, but if you really must, you can go find it on YouTube. And he's kind of flipping the bird. He's being very nice and respectful.
He was so excited. He was like, curse the world. I love this place. I want to talk about me.
I like how Jeff Keighley what did he tell him? He said it was like no, well, we can talk about the game in a minute, or he was like, well, we can talk later, and Jeff Keighley at some point was like, no, we can't. We can't. So he kind of took over. He might have been a little tipsy. He looked like
I just think he was just really excited to be there, period.
I think some people have that nervousness about him too. Maybe it was just like, I'm really
he started ranting. Is that what it is?
But anyways, going back to what this is about, is A Way Out. It's a co-op game, which is sort of, as far as I understand it, it's sort of like you're breaking out of jail, right? And you play it in co-op and you help each other out.
Actually, they go beyond that. Like they may have started in jail, and that's how they became friends. But then it's like a type of life game they get out of it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Kane and Lynch, I guess. And I guess. Well,
but Kane and Lynch is very soloable. This one seems like
they don't want you to solo it. So that reminded me of what was the name of the game with the Army of Two?
I'm not
saying it's like back to back or anything, but you have the same type of partnership.
The closest that I maybe can see this being sort of relative of is Brothers. There's a game called Brothers where you actually are
that side-scrolling one?
No, it's a 3D. It's a sort of a simple 3D space type of game, but you're solving puzzles. I believe, from what I remember, is I think you play co-op, but you can also play it on the same controller.
It's about two little kids, though, right?
Two little kids, yeah. And you're trying to solve
talking about.
That's the closest I can see, but this one looks more comfortable. This one's out on March 23rd next year. Also, the cool thing about this is, if you have a copy, your friend doesn't need a copy of the game. So this is supposed to be like a console game. You see it on DS, 3DS, where it's, we have download play and you can play. But this is probably like one of the few instances where you're like, this is sort of like download play. So
what's it coming out on?
I believe it's PlayStation 4 or Xbox.
But how do you have download play on that?
They got to figure it. But apparently your friend doesn't need a copy. So you have a copy and you can play co-op. That's why I think it goes as far as that to... They want you to play a co-op.
If they could do that by itself makes the game its own type of innovative. Because no other game really does that for a console game.
It might be the first.
It would be the first one.
As far as I can remember,
I mean, we had that share play thing, but that was about it, and that was kind of disconnecty. Remember, we tried to play...
and the games weren't really built that way. The reason that they're allowing you to do this is, hey... play it with the friend.
Yeah, play it co-op. Do it that way.
And we want to eliminate as many excuses as possible. So you buy the game and here, play with your friend. He doesn't even need a copy of it.
He does need to be your friend.
So those were some of the bigger things that we saw at the Game Awards, which is funny. We haven't talked about the awards yet. So the most important thing, you kind of like, okay, the most important thing is the premieres and the new content. Some of the short ones, other things that we saw in here, we won't talk too much about it. But there's a game called Accounting Plus VR that's coming out December 19. And it's actually from the Rick and Morty creators. I don't know if they completely are behind the whole concept.
I saw some of the art and the voices.
They're doing maybe the art and the voices. Some of the guys are involved. So that looks actually... It's very raunchy, though. If you look up
I expected somebody to come up and say, Szechuan sauce. Yeah. Szechuan.
It's very raunchy. I mean, it's called Accounting Plus VR. So even the name is like, what? Accounting Plus. All right. That's fair. But it looks pretty cool. I'm going to check it out. The next one is Vacation Simulator was... announced, which is basically like the sequel to Job Simulator, but you're on vacation now. So on PSVR, it works well enough. You know, I mean, I do feel like it loses. Maybe it's better on Vive or Oculus, or if you have Room VR, and I think it probably works better on that. But
between Vacation and Accounting Plus, I'm pretty sure I'd go for Accounting Plus.
We're pretty much covered. Yeah, Accounting Plus looks more maybe like an on rails or more straightforward type of game, which Job Simulator was sort of like that too, but you would lose track easily. Accounting Plus looks like it'll accommodate better.
Hopefully they fix the tracking.
And I know we have the other game that I told you about that you didn't know what it was, so you seemed interested.
No. I didn't understand how the gameplay would actually work and what would make it so fun.
And what we were talking about, it's in the Valley of the Gods.
In the Valley of the Gods, because I felt the same way about their previous game.
Well, let me explain it, Dalan, before you get all offended and up and
I'm not offended by it.
In the Valley of Gods got announced, which is a Campo Santo game that's going to release in 2019, and you're like, oh, that seems interesting. That looks like a Firewatch type of game. It's like, yeah, it's a walking simulator.
That was the term I didn't know. I was like, a walking simulator? What are you talking about, a walking simulator?
But you did see some video on Firewatch, right? And what did you say?
I had seen some video on Firewatch, but I had never really seen like most of the gameplay. I didn't know if there was any type of action or anything that really happened in that game. It quite literally is a walking simulator. You walk, you talk, you pick up a couple of things, you move on, you go to sleep.
They're not very action heavy. Yeah, it's really a narrative game. So it's kind of like if you don't get wrapped into the story, then it's like...
Yeah, it is about the story. That's what it is. Me. It is
so in the Valley of the Gods, and this was kind of like, it looks like it's going to be like an Egyptian type area, or like you're hunting artifacts, or you're kind of exploring. So it's an exploratory type of game. You're not going to be shooting nothing. I doubt it.
They need to make a mummy game.
Walking simulator. The next thing, Doomsday Heist for GTA... Online is dropping.
You enjoy that name, Doomsday Heist.
It looks pretty good. I don't know if you saw the trailer, right? And part of the trailer, so it's a new heist for GTA Online. I don't know if you noticed, but in the trailer somewhere along the way, there's like DeLoreans in there.
Those are DeLoreans.
What would you call them?
Those were the Kit cars.
What are they? Are they
the Night Rider cars? That was part of one of the expansions.
Okay. So they. It looks ridiculous. I just want to know what I need to do to be leveled enough to play with you guys, because I haven't done a heist.
You just need to make sure you update the game enough, and then of course you have to actually have the heists unlocked.
Yeah, which is cool that some of this stuff, like the VR stuff and some other games, they're out this month. I mean, even the Zelda content's out today or yesterday. It was out yesterday. So all this stuff is like, here you go. For example, the desert map in PUBG that drops yesterday on PC, or not officially. It's like an early beta server. And then, of course, they said the Xbox version doesn't get it till next year, which is like... It's the redhead stepchild of the PC.
Good job.
The PC and PlayStation 4 versions, but 1.0 is apparently launching on December 20th, which I guess they're ready to go into full release. But I hope you can vault, if they're trying to release it already. The one that looked pretty cool to me was a game called Witchfire, which is from the Bulletstorm, and I put Ethan Carter here. Pretty sure there's a longer name, but it's from those two developers. Search for Ethan Carter or something like that. That's I think was more of a walking simulator type game also, but Bulletstorm was not. It was a very action-heavy, very combo-focused game. So Witchfire looks pretty cool. It looks like some of the movement that I was seeing, I was like, okay, Bulletstorm.
It looked like a dialed-down Doom.
I did get a feel of Doom. It's probably not going to be as twitchy as that, but it looked like.
Well, that's why I said dialed down.
Yeah.
So with it being dialed down, they have more room to put more, I guess, graphics into it to put more stability into the whole environment.
I mean, since you got these two developers that kind of come from different backgrounds, where one maybe is more narrative focused, the other one's more action focused, it's probably going to have a little bit of both. You know, it's going to have a good story, and maybe, you know, Doom. I thought the Doom story fit that game and the gameplay perfectly, but not every game can be Doom. Game.
So you got to have the witch hunter and just throw them into a medieval time.
Yeah.
A bunch of crazy witches coming at you, heads on fire. Let's shoot some stuff and get some crazy bullets along the way. Get a nice little action-packed game and probably a little bit of story along the way. Doom didn't really have that story that you could really get into, though there was story.
It had a great story.
It had a great story.
story.
I'm not saying it didn't have a great story. I know it did. But the way that the game is built, you're more focused on the maps and killing stuff than you are the story. In this case, they could actually balance that if they take the time.
I have a serious question for you, Dylan.
You have a serious question.
Yes.
You got a curveball for me?
Yeah, it's not a curveball. It's just a straight up good question.
Okay.
Why was Doom so good? Like, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. Like, right off the bat, you start the game, you grab your guns, you get your shield, and like, dun-dum, 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 dun-dum. It was like, oh, man, I'm ready to go. This is it.
I can tell you why it was so good. It was so good because they pandered to people's want to murder stuff.
Oh, yeah, perfectly. Like, they didn't stop you. You know, like, a lot of games, you get kind of like that feeling where they're kind of holding you back, or you're not really doing everything you need to. No, Doom was not that. It's like, you want to do that? Yeah. Just, okay. Do you know, like, in some games also, you hold off on shooting rockets or your heaviest weapons. Like, oh, I might need it. And you end up finishing the game never using them. This one, you better use them, and it's fine because you can chainsaw some enemies and you get that ammo right back.
It's kind of how I felt about Wolfenstein, too, when I was playing that.
Oh, you've been playing Wolfenstein 2?
I told you I've been playing Wolfenstein. Where have you been?
When did you get a copy?
Oh, no, I don't have Wolfenstein 2. I started playing Wolfenstein 1.
One is good, and it's Bethesda, so those guys they're doing good work. And they had a commercial on the Game Awards, too, that they're like, keep supporting single-player games. And it's like the main guy, I'm sorry I forget his name, but he was talking about they're donating $100,000 to the ESA to kind of further encourage development. He didn't exactly say further encourage single player development, you know.
But you probably get the fact that that's what it's for. There's
a sense like we're trying to continue with this, but you know, because they have Fallout, they have Skyrim. These are huge single player games that don't have loot boxes or anything like that. So it's kind of cool, like a cool like wink and a nod to like players like, hey, we're not doing this. Go ahead and buy Wolfenstein. Go ahead and buy that. So. And the next thing is, it seems like Dreams is actually finally coming out. I don't know if you know what Dreams is. Dreams has been in like in festering and hibernation, whatever you want to call it. It's been basically has been Media Molecule's game for the longest time. That's just been gestating. I think is the word I was looking for. They say it's finally coming out in 2018. It looks like it's going to be a VR game where they have a trippy sort of. Dreamscape type story, and then you can create your own dreams in it. So, you know, that should be entertaining. The next thing, they better make that good because I believe it's going to be their last game. Yes, if they don't succeed, Media Molecule will be not long for this work.
Will not be long for this.
So let's hope it's good.
The next one we have on our list was Fortnite. Mm-hmm. I know that you love talking about this game, but now they're going to have a brief 50-50 versus very limited time.
Do you know you played it, right? Have you played it?
I did play it.
What Battle Royale is 100 people? Or it's supposed to be like
PUBG is supposed to be 100 people.
No. But Fortnite copied them.
Oh yeah,
in their Battle Royale mode. Battle Royale mode is it 100 people or how does that work?
I think originally it was 50 people, and then they actually bumped it up. Oh,
so this is actually bumping it to 50 versus 50.
Yeah, that's the thing is they actually bumped it up for a short period of time, and that's going to be just a massive battle.
We're gonna start getting into it. I think
you're ready to get into it. You're like, let's do it.
And I know, like, they're taking over as far as Twitch and minutes and people watching versus PUBG. First. But so this is a good time for PUBG to be like, here's a new map. Xbox versus out next week.
Which they did.
So, you know, there's a way to fight back. Metro Exodus, that's out in fall 2018, which to me, you know, I have the first two games lying around
you
somewhere.
I've never touched it. I actually finally touched it. It's very RPG element-ish.
Okay.
So it's actually
the Fallout.
No, it's not like super Fallout, but it starts to lean in that direction, but they focus more.
Is the shooting good too?
Yeah, they actually have good traction. They have a fair amount of ammo that's actually spread out over a period
first person shooter RPG type game that's actually based on a
book.
A book, but is it Russian or it might be the Eastern European?
It's somewhere out
It's
east.
based on a real book that's actually like a big deal for their culture. So it's cool to see we're finally getting I know they've been working on it for a while. So it's cool to see that it's out next year. So if you're excited for that, or get excited for that, if you
I am a little excited for that, but I really need to get through at least one of those games.
At least one of those games. So, and also, like we talked about it a little earlier, but yeah, all this stuff is coming out in December. The next Battlefront 2 episode is with, it follows up the story in the Star Wars campaign.
No loot boxes.
It's free. And apparently they say they're not going to throw in the loot boxes
no
after
loot
all.
boxes.
We're going to find out. I like how in big lettering they put this new story content is free for everyone. So it's like, hey, stuff better be free because you guys are still in trouble.
Well, they did that with part 1 as well when they dropped... I forgot the name of the planet. It starts with a J. Jakku. They dropped Jakku for free for everybody, and that was awesome. I enjoyed it.
So, that's basically about it. That's a lot of announcements, man, for the Game Awards. I know in years previous, they've had some announcements, but it really hasn't been like this big. So that's a good amount. We'll get to, I guess, the namesake, the awards, just really quickly. We'll go over it, some interesting tidbits. Zelda won 3. So there was 3 games that really kind of swept.
3 games, 1-3.
You couldn't say they swept it, but there's 3 games that got 3 different awards that stood out. So Zelda, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild got 3 awards. It got one for game direction, game of the year, and action adventure. They don't do the thing where, hey, you shouldn't be allowed to get these other areas if you already got game of the year. So because Zelda seems to have gotten... These are basically Game of the Year awards, game direction, Game of the Year, action, adventure. But it's like, all right, you won all 3.
No, but that's something that most award shows would do. If you actually showed up in multiple categories, they just actually do it separately for those particular things. Yeah. So there's one where it's like best audio or something like that, and they will only focus on how well the audio was done.
No, I get what you're saying, but game direction, action, adventure game of the year, it's kind of like... other games could have gotten that, which it's not a problem. I think what it is, they're not really thinking about it. It's like, well, it got the most votes in every single particular category. Yeah, nobody could beat it.
It's like, tell that to the movie Gravity. It got multiple things for multiple things.
Well, yeah, but there's no. Well, yeah, I mean, even the movies, there's like best direction, best cinematography. Where you're like,
best sound,
is it not
best
really
editing?
So Zelda got 3. It got those 3. Cuphead also got 3. Best art direction, best independent game, and best debut game. So that was their first game, independent game, and art direction. In
which I will say for Cuphead, watching Cuphead,
it's kind of incredible.
It was very old timey, and I appreciated it very much. So eventually, I've decided that I'm eventually going to pick up that game. I just haven't done it
What's
yet.
going to happen is you don't have an Xbox, so I'll have to buy it. You'll have to come over and we'll co-op.
Well, I said I will eventually get it. Even if I don't have it, I might even be... You can pick it up on Steam, though, right?
Yeah, it's
Steamable, so I might pick it up on Steam, so I'd be able to play that game.
And it's one of those games, too, where it's like co-op is not necessarily easier, which I haven't looked it up, but I get a sense where you're like, oh, your homie died. Go pick him up.
If you don't get there in time, it's too late. But another one that won many awards was Hellblade. I think it won 3 awards.
3 of them, yeah.
Won 3 awards. It got best audio, best performance, and games for impact.
Yeah, so this one got like the most artsy fartsy, I guess, if you can say awards.
Fartsy.
So Hellblade said, what is the full name? Hellblade
Senua's Vengeance?
Senua's Vengeance.
I'll remember it. Just continue.
As far as the artsy fartsy, which I think is the more respectable one, maybe, because audio, if you play that game, play with some headphones, with some 5.1, with whatever you can, because it really is all about that dementia that the person's really going crazy, right? It's by either... she has mental issues, whatever it is, and she can hear voices.
Multiple personalities.
So the audio helps with that because you'll hear behind your right ear.
Oh, man, it was very beautiful. You got to have that surround sound headset. That's Dolby Digital
and the 5.1. The other thing was it got for performance, which the actress I have here. Ooh, I thought I had the.
Oh no, well. She was a very good actress. She was actually a part of their original team. That was not supposed to be the original voice actress for the character.
Well, she did the acting too, and apparently it was the first time she did.
Yeah, because she wasn't supposed to be. She was in the background. She was creating the modeling for the character, and then suddenly they were like, "You know what? You're doing this better than any of the other voice actors we got right now. Will you do this for us?"
Yeah, so best performance, which is pretty cool, and then the games for impact, which is like it did touch on mental illness and that kind of thing. It's like, well, games don't really do that all that much, or they more and more games have been kind of touching on more sensitive topics and all that. You know what? I think I mean, Detroit will get a games for impact.
Is that what you're looking forward to? Detroit's impact.
It just depends how it deals with, I mean, if it has another moment where it's like, Jason, press X to Jason, Jason, maybe it won't get the games for impact, but we'll see. So yeah, Hellblade I think is pretty cool. It got audio performance, and these are things that you look at it and you're like, it really did excel at these things. Really quickly, best VR, Resident Evil 7, which is incredibly terrifying and engrossing if that's what you want in your life. My recommendation is play it at 15 minutes at a time, take a rest and then come back to it another day. Best fighting game, which is a little interesting. Well, I'll get your take on it, Dalan. But best fighting game was Injustice 2, and to me it beat out Tekken 7 and it beat out Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Which to you, do you think is it justified that Injustice 2 won
okay, that? Honestly, when it comes to best gameplay, I will say Injustice 2 out of those particular games probably is the best one. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom, even though it was a huge title, it really lost a lot of stuff when it went from part 2 to part 3. I mean, I was just upset alone when they did not have the X-Men characters. Yeah. That was just like the biggest impact to that game altogether.
So Injustice 2 deserved it.
Well, I gotta say Tekken 7 is also good, but people just love the DC
now
comics
this
way
is
too
your
much.
opinion.
Yeah, I understand that you don't like
I don't like
Tekken
the Dalan,
7.
I don't like, not even
you don't
just
have
Tekken
to like
7.
The dial combo.
I don't like the Tekken at all. The dial combo nonsense. I really don't like it. But this is your
that's
opinion.
like saying you don't like King of Fighters because the moves are too hard.
No, King of Fighters is actually a good game.
But
so let's get that out of the way first.
Let me say that right now. King of Fighters is a good game. Don't you ever tell me otherwise.
So the rest of them, narrative, What Remains of Edith Finch, which I believe is a walking simulator. Best action, which is pretty cool. It got some respect. Wolfenstein 2 won Best Action. Industry Icon, which... I think I'm 30 years old. I feel like I'm getting a little older. I'm not old enough to know this person, but the industry icon, they give it to Carol Shaw, and she was actually one of the first. I don't know if she was the first. I think it's been debunked. I saw on Twitter the other day. It's like, no, she wasn't the first female programmer. It was a different person. But whatever. She's still an iconic figure. Carol Shaw. She worked on the Atari, I believe, 2600 game River Raid. So she was credited for the longest time, or based on this, she's still credited as the first female programmer. I never played the game. It looks cool.
You never played the game. It doesn't matter. But she is still doing a lot of work for the gaming industry. Last time I checked.
Okay. Oh, she's still involved.
She's still involved.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see her up there, man. It's cool to see because it's one of those things where like you want to see these people, and it's important to see like where the industry has come from, and if it wasn't for these people, it's like what would it be, Or they really did make an impact.
It would probably be a corporate trap if it wasn't for these people.
Which you could argue maybe it is. Maybe
it is a corporate trap. I'm sorry. No, let me move on from that. But what was the best ongoing game right now? Being Overwatch. And I know I played Overwatch. Yeah. Did you play Overwatch? And did you enjoy it?
I played a little bit of it. It's just not my type of game. The interest, and it's like one of those games. I've had to explain this before, and it's not an original thought. Jeff Kanata says this he's on Twitter. He has his own podcast too. But to me, that game it's more good than it is fun. Is what I would call it. So I understand this is his thought process, and I agree. It's like I can understand that it's a good game and it's an excellent game and it's top echelon Blizzard gaming at its finest, and it's beautifully an ongoing game. It's a quote unquote live game or whatever you want to call it. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I get
Team the fact that it's not for you, but you also can't do those type of games because you got other games out there that are completely ongoing, like Dota, was a League of Legends. There are many other examples.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with this one is it kind of beat out. You know what? I don't think Destiny won any awards. So this is
Destiny
one that
was up there as nominated. It
was nominated. So yeah, one of the other nominated ones for the ongoing game was Destiny 2, which is like, you know, I mean, it's just been having problems, right? It's just
it has its spurts. It's like it's good, then it's dead, then it's good, then it's dead.
Or you know what it is? I think it's Overwatch is a good choice for this though. I mean, even over Destiny, I love my Destiny, but when it's when they're talking about ongoing game or live game, I don't like that name that they chose, ongoing game. I would have preferred live, but maybe there's some confusion with that term too. So whatever. Best ongoing game. Overwatch is an ongoing game. It's constantly has you hooked. Whereas Destiny, we beat it and we don't have anything to do for a month. Well, there's still
content, which to me, you don't feel like going to do that content because it's not going to progress.
Well, to me, it's like that's fine. I'm perfectly fine. But then it disqualifies it then from being a completely ongoing game. So next thing, which is kind of interesting, they the best esport player, Faker. I don't know if you know who that is.
No idea who that is. We could just
move on.
I know it is, but you got best esport player. But I know that there are some good esport teams out there because we played against one and they completely destroyed us before we even got to the third round.
And that's not even top level.
So that was even
what
top
you're talking about is Rocket League. Yeah,
too hard.
Rocket League. Yeah, we gotta get better. We gotta get gooder. We gotta get gooder.
We gotta.
The most anticipated game was Last of Us 2, which hey, I'm pretty anticipating. I'm anticipating Last of Us 2.
I'm anticipating. You were waiting. You were watching and waiting in anticipation.
So we'll do one last thing, and we kind of cleared the deck for the Game Awards because there was quite a bit to talk about. But one thing that I didn't want to let pass really quickly before we get to our Curse of Osiris talk, which we will spoil.
Spoiler alert.
At the very end.
What were you going to say right
Anyways,
now?
calm down. Relax. I'm just saying we're going to get to eventually Curse of Osiris.
You can't hold me back.
So Nintendo games are coming to Android-powered nVidia Shield in China. And they'll include ports of Super Mario Galaxy, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and Punch-Out!, which, as far as I understand, they're going to be reformatted to be useful without waggle.
I got to say one thing about the Nintendo
Hold on,
Switch.
Dalan. Hold on.
Yeah, fine.
So the games are supposed to be running at 1080p, and this is not a Nintendo system, which is the interesting thing to this, right? It's running on a different console. So the games will run at 1080p, and the Shield will be approximately $226, which is when you transfer it from Chinese money to American. And it's in collaboration with nVidia, Nintendo, and Ikigi, Ikigi. So to me, it's like, does this mean we'll start seeing some Wii GameCube ports to the Switch? Because I don't know about them porting to mobile or the US nVidia Shield, because this is a way just to get into the Chinese market, right?
Yeah.
But can we at least expect some Wii and GameCube ports to the Switch?
Probably not. But
why not?
Because I don't think they'll actually want to take that step back for the video games themselves. I mean, they'll actually start porting some games over, but I think they're going to try and innovate for new games instead of older games.
Yeah, but
I will
it doesn't take as many resources to port it, and if they've already ported it to an nVidia Shield, we talked about this last episode. What is the Switch? It's just an Android tablet. It's just an nVidia Shield.
But the one thing I do have to say Nintendo does do right is, regardless of what time it is in this world, if you start porting games from older systems onto the newer systems, people will buy them, regardless. Like, right. If they took every...
So what's
you're
the
all
problem?
waiting. You're waiting. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying they did it right. That's a good thing.
Wait, what did they...
You're not paying attention to a word that...
I was just offended at the outset because I'm pretty sure you weren't saying anything that was fair.
It was fair. I'm saying Nintendo did it right, being that anything that they port from the Wii, bring it over to the Switch, you want to buy it.
Yeah, which is like,
anything
yes,
they
do
bring
it.
from the DS, you want to see it. Well, I don't know if they could port every game from the DS over to the Switch, but it is touchscreen, so they probably could. But I'm saying they could bring like every old game that they wanted over to the Switch eShop, and people would buy the heck out of those games.
Yeah, so I think this is one of those things where it's like, because a lot of the big deal with the Wii, the GameCube not so much, but the Wii was the waggle controls, right? But the nVidia Shield doesn't have waggles to it, so
I like the way you call them a waggle.
So if they're able to
wiggle sticks.
So if they're able to extract the waggle from it, that means eventually, hopefully, we could get them on the Switch through Virtual Console or whatever it is. They might even do. You know what? We're suckers. They're gonna sell them to us for $30, $40.
That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. They can just sell them to us.
Hey, I'm willing to get some Super Mario Galaxy or whatever else on my system. You know,
man, you're probably down to buy old Super Nintendo games. You're gonna buy Super Mario World just so you can play it with your child.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I'd do it.
So we'll move on. Let's. What I'm thinking as far as Curse of Osiris, we both beat the campaign, right? We can talk about it for a couple minutes on not spoilery, just. What do you like? What don't you like? And then after that, we're gonna go full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
But so what do you think? You beat the campaign. It's only a couple hours long, right? Maybe
yeah, that was the thing. Is I was expecting it to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy the campaign for what it was, but I definitely wish it was a lot longer. And I'm hoping
you're paying $20 for
it. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, because they're doing the same thing with the raid, I'm hoping that as time goes on, they will actually drop more story even before we get to the next part of the expansion.
Did you notice, other than you level up to 25 now, and you can get up to, what is the light level now?
I don't know. I haven't maxed out on it. I haven't actually looked that up. I need to look that up.
I think it might be 330, but besides that, it doesn't seem like they've done too many changes yet to like the economy, to the different ways the elements interact. So it really is a lot of it is the story. One of the cool things I noticed is
and the experience building, the way you actually gain your experience. They changed the formula.
How's that?
Well, when they took away that issue that they had previously, the 95% thing, I saw my experience like really building pretty quickly. As I was
that was with the engrams. That had nothing to do with they weren't capping you when you were going from 1 to 20. The cap is once you get past that and to get engrams. That's when it was like people were noticing. I'm only getting 4% of.
Well, that's when they noticed it, though. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, but then you don't know it because we're going from 20 before, right? We were 20, or was it max?
You mean when
level 20?
We're going from
so
20
now you're going
to
to 25. Yeah, so you're boosting up. You know, it's that's not when they were capping, and they were capping it when you started to get engrams, which is past level 20 or past the level cap.
Were you trying to find bright engrams?
No, I never really was. That's kind of, I think that was the thing where like it doesn't even affect it. Like
you do love your table flip,
and that's why the microtransactions to the game don't really necessarily matter, because they start mattering at a max level when you're maxed out and you actually care about the customization and how your character looks. Which to me, I'm like, I just want to get to max level and I'm good. My character looks all mismatched and everything, but that's
I enjoy my shaders and how often I could get them to be able to actually get myself a full suit of one color. Because I still remember how your brother was playing in that Titan uniform. He looked like a big old pink block, and we don't need
sticking to the expansion. Because you're over here diverting all over the place.
I'm just thinking about that.
But so without spoilers, yeah, the campaign is pretty short, but it's good. I think it's pretty good. It's the boss. We'll talk about it in a little while. But as far as the boss, I thought the boss was probably even better than Destiny 2 proper, man. Than the SpongeBob, not SpongeBob, but what do you call it? Bullet Sponge. The bullet sponge that the boss at the end of Destiny 2 proper was. So I think it's better than that. It's much cooler than that.
Actually, you want to know my favorite part about the expansion so far? The Infinite Forest.
Spoilery. Okay, Infinite Stars.
No, the Infinite Forest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. To me, I don't necessarily agree with. It's not that cool because all they do is rearrange the same assets.
I understand that.
Anytime you rearrange assets, I hate it. That's why I hate Horde mode, because Horde mode is like
you're taking the same thing. These
are already existing assets. We're like, wait, but we're just gonna shift it this way. We're gonna move it that way. But these are new, not new assets, which we did talk about. Which I'm like, it's basically sort of like a.
Well, I think you're actually missing the point of me liking the Infinite Forest, because it's not necessarily the shifting of the location, the platforms around. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about when you get past the platforms, when you actually go to a different timeline or a different zone, because with those they could expand on this game infinitely.
Yeah, which that's kind of what I figure they'll do, which. Could be cool, but at the same time, like, it's just horde mode, and
some of those lands
they're gonna randomize them. But yeah, as far as so the campaign's pretty short. The boss I liked, and after the fact, they actually incentivize you doing the adventures.
The boss
that's pretty cool. Don't spoil it. We'll just.
All right. Stay away from the boss for a moment.
But you know, it incentivizes the adventures after the fact, where like now you have it as part of your what do you call it? Your objectives or your milestones. You have it as your milestones.
You have your
which
milestones.
The milestones of Destiny 2 is really how you get your higher level gear type of stuff. So you should focus on that. But yeah, so far we still haven't done the raid. We still got the raid to do. And,
it's gonna be coming out though. Are you raid ready?
I don't know. We'll see if I'm raid ready yet. But
my body is ready.
My body is definitely ready. Like Reggie Fils-Aimé would say. Yeah, I mean, I think we still gotta wait for the raid. I mean, some of these raids are like, they're worth $10, $15, $20. They're worth the price of admission, which is how much time you dedicate to them. I mean, Destiny 2, unfortunately, I wasn't the biggest fan, but we'll see. There's raid lair. I mean, it's a raid lair. It's a raid Infinite Forest raid that we're probably going to be getting.
So far, your hype for the game itself has become a lot of ongoing or at least slow disappointments.
No, you're talking about for me or for you?
Yeah, for you.
For me.
No, because when we were originally waiting for the game, you were so hyped to actually see the new raid. Yeah. And then when we finally saw the new raid, you were like, this was a very contained raid. It wasn't like the other raids where you had to go on this whole journey through a whole lair of a place.
You're not going on an adventure.
Yeah, you're not going on an adventure. You're just stuck in a pyramid. I mean, that's one thing to be stuck in a pyramid for at least one raid, and you're kind of cool with that.
But see, I it's not necessarily disappointment, because I'm really not. It's one of those conflicting things where I'm like, I kind of like not having to log into the game every single day, but I can also understand the complaint from people like, I can't log in every day because I've already done everything. What else is there for me to do? So I'm not disappointed. I can respect the fact that the game can be, I got my $60 worth. I got my $20 worth. I put in 10, because in this DLC, we're going to put at least 15, 20 hours based on the raid, based on leveling all 3 characters. You're going to get your money's worth out of it. But the thing is, we'll be done in 2-3 weeks. And it's like, but you think about it, like, you got 2-3 weeks worth of game.
But like I said before, though, it's one of those games that it's doing great, then it's dead. Then it's great, then it's dead. That's
maybe that's
just the way Destiny has been, and Destiny needs to find a way to change that.
They got to find a way to be consistent, and it's like one of the things that they talked about on the podcast is they have to be able to keep players to where they're involved and they have reasons to keep logging back in and not to fall off, and they want to be like, find an excuse to jump in, because one of the things they mentioned was people buy games, and like, say for Destiny 2, they were expecting to buy that one game. This is my one game. I don't have, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about other people, how they buy games. They're like, this is $60 I'm putting down, and I'm expecting this to be my one game.
Bungie, are you listening?
When you think, well, no, they know about it. They spoke about it. They talked about it on their podcast, that's how they know people are like, this is my one game that I'm supposed to be playing for the next 3 or 4 months, and I spent $60 on it. For me, it's like, I buy games regularly, so I have a backlog that I haven't even gotten to, so it's like, that's fine.
For the people that don't know, I'm staring at a shelf of a whole lot of games that are unopened.
There's a couple of unopened in there. Does Yakuza 0 count? It came in a little box set.
Oh, so yeah, that counts.
I opened the box. The inside, don't look inside because it's still in plastic, the actual game, but it's open. So
that reminds me, waiting for that next year.
So that's Salient Point episode 10. I'm your host, Carlos Macias. You can find me at Duce Clean on Twitter, and I got
Dalan Kirkwood. You can find me on Twitter at _Zasha_ double underscore.
And yeah, stick around after the credits. We will go full spoiler on the Destiny 2 campaign. So if you want to listen to that, go ahead and stick around.
By the way, Senua's sacrifice.
Oh, good job. Well, good job remembering while we were in the middle of it.
I'm gonna be somebody tonight. I'm gonna be somebody tonight. I'm gonna need a new body tonight. I'm gonna need a new body tonight.
So we're gonna go into spoilers for Destiny 2, the first expansion, Curse of Osiris.
So
far, yeah, we still got the raid to kind of go through, but
I'm sure we have.
So what did you think of the story? It's a good couple hours. You follow Osiris, and you're actually
searching for Osiris.
You're chasing him,
and you get his multiple ghosts just floating around the Destiny verse. But actually, out of the characters, I gotta say, my favorite character was actually that little ghost.
Yeah, well, eventually it takes over the body of your own ghost.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, when that happened, I was like, I hope I get to keep this ghost. Yeah. Maybe they pushed out that old voice and you got this new voice in your head. Yeah. I get this new female voice following me around. Yeah. And then then when they took it away, I was like, no, I was a little sad about it. Yeah. But I was excited to actually have that occur for that period of time. Yeah. So that was cool, and I thought that ghost was funnier than our current ghost.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and they're good. They're good at writing characters. They're good at like figuring out like new ways to infuse character into these different things. So I liked it. I liked Osiris. I liked the ghost. I actually felt like they told a nice, concise story. You know, it had good beats to it, and it's a story that ultimately turns out to be inconsequential, because really, what happens? What was ever at danger? They it's like, no, this is gonna break everything. If you can't solve this is gonna break. It's like, dude, nothing really changed. Like, we got from the beginning to the very end. We stopped
it from happening. We did a whole looper thing, but. There's also
which is pretty cool, right? That you sort of loopered it,
but there's also the fact that they left it open with the Infinite Forest, that in the next raid you could have a Vexed you can have a Vex that is just uber powerful, because I would say that for each individual raid that they would have going, because the first one was Cabal, really, I would say the next one can be Vex, and then after that the next one can
because
be
you have different
Fallen.
enemies in there, like what we spoke in the unspoilery part was it's spoked about. It's very like recycling assets, but it is kind of cool.
They built an entire world around these races.
But it's not you're saying like as far as Destiny proper itself, and then they're using this new environment where they can shift stuff around and kind of make that happen. Which, I went through it, and like the only problem is like the adventures are like, that's how they go through the adventures. Like, go through this wormhole or go through this.
It's like you go through the wormhole,
and we're gonna shift stuff around, get to the end,
kill it, and then go back.
So it's very predictable. But of course, it does. At the very least, they have new audio for it. But at the same time, like, you guys are using the same assets, just rearranging them somehow. So one of them
that's what Mercury is. It's a very small area, really.
One of them is you get to the end of the tunnel and you have like a cool sort of arena type situation. Another one is you're chasing a couple of them down and you do some platforming. I'm already bored just talking about it. But it's the Infinite Forest is one of those things where it's like, let's call it the Infinite Forest, and it really is infinite. It's like, it's really infinite because you use the same assets over and over, and you just rearrange them. But as far as the campaign itself, man, I think it's pretty cool. And the boss, we could spoil it now. It's actually kind of awesome what you do as far as the tackling down.
It's very Zelda. You got to hit it 3 times.
Yeah. Well, it's like basically every game, right? You hit the thing 3 times. But I thought it was really cool where it's you have to get the bomb, and you kind of have to get it in a certain way,
and drop his shield,
and then you got Osiris. He's like, I got you. I'm gonna put you in front of the eye, and then you shoot a rocket into its eye, and then you see like burst and.
Is that what you shot a rocket into his eye? I didn't shoot a rocket.
I was shooting rockets, man.
Yeah, I didn't have a rocket on hand. I had my origin story, and I was sitting there shooting the eye out. But
wait, did it go away quickly? Because a rocket takes it out. Like,
actually, I took that eye out real fast. I took out my origin story. It took me like 5 shots.
All right, but I thought it was really cool, man. I thought like we spoke, we talked about it on the unspoilery, but how basically in Destiny 2 the boss is really just a bullet sponge, and it's like just keep shooting, and for this one it was pretty cool. It's not the most complicated boss, but it's enough of a challenge there where
actually the boss itself was not a challenge. That's the problem, is that when you actually get to the boss,
you're talking about for Curse of Osiris.
Yeah, I'm talking about for Curse of Osiris. This boss, Paneptis or Panepti or whatever his name is, Panoptis. But the fact is, you get to Panoptis, he runs away. Then he throws a bunch of enemies at you. You kill the enemies, and then you get to shoot him.
Well, yeah,
he doesn't really shoot at you. He doesn't attack you. You're not afraid of Panoptis.
No, to me, it's more of a like you actually like feel like you're in an action adventure. Like it's just awesome. Even perspective optics wise, it feels awesome more than it felt with Destiny 2 boss, Destiny 2 proper boss, where it's like, hey, I'm just the first in Destiny 2.
Yeah, but at least for that boss, you got to fight the boss. In this one,
you fight. You
don't fight the boss.
You fight him.
You look at him and then shoot him in the eye.
Yeah, you fight him, and then you got Osiris coming in helping you out, and it feels like it's a collaborative effort.
But you don't fight him.
Like in Avengers, kind of like, look, we're all helping out. We're taking him out.
I understand it's a little cooperative, action-packed, let's get in on this boss type thing, so you have your roles to play, but at least for
like, I get
any
what you're
other
saying.
boss,
I get what you're saying.
I
get what you're saying, but to me, I think it's and it goes to kind of what your philosophy of bosses is, right? To me, for the longest time, it's been like the boss that you're saying is like you're actually fighting them. For me, it's like some games like it's okay if you end it on. You don't have to test me on every single little thing I learned throughout the way. But, for the longest time, that was the philosophy of a boss. It's like, you've been playing this game for 10, 15, 20 hours. We're really going to test you. For the final boss, we're going to test you. For me, I prefer okay, I did all this kind of random stuff. I shot everything. There's a couple challenging bosses along the way. The final boss, I just wanted to be awesome. I don't need you to test me. I don't need you to test me all along the way. It's like, remember this move, remember this. You got to use that now.
Well, even then, I wouldn't even say test me the whole way through the boss, because even that, I understand where you're coming on that front. But
as far as the experience,
as far as the experience goes, it just felt like it was lacking a little bit. Even if it wasn't a long period of literally fighting the boss, I would have loved to have actually fought the boss and see what this boss can do. What does this boss do that instills fear in my character?
That. To me,
it was just this gigantic wall with an eye on it that was being held back by Osiris' ghost.
But see, that's the thing. You're launching them back little by little, and at some point, you see that eye pop out, and you can knock it around and hit it around and go about the stage.
But it just seems like, aside from him throwing enemies at your feet, he's not defending himself.
I think we'll agree to disagree on this.
That's
the
point.
That's the embrace debate. But yeah, to me, I thought it was great. It was a good little. I mean, it is short. I mean, ultimately, people can think about it as like $20 and from like 2 hours. Like, no, 2 hours. That's the thing. That's the true Destiny player comes into play, right? It's like, well, it's really like 6 because you're gonna do it on all 3 characters. Then you're gonna do the adventures. So that's about.
Like, don't even stretch it. Because I have people that won't even do more than one.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
People like to just have a main.
I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, as a Destiny player myself, I'm kind of like, I was like, well, really gonna get like 15, 20 hours from this, and I'm okay with that. But people expect to get 20, and then it's like, this is the rest of my life. It was like, no, it's okay. It doesn't have to be that way. Anything else that's kind of spoilery or anything?
There was the lighthouse. People are apparently enjoying the lighthouse. They went into the lighthouse. They're looking at all these books. They're like, I wonder what they're going to do with these books. I'm like, they're not going to do any of these books.
They're not. Window dressing.
Yeah, it's just window dressing. It's just there to look at. It's eye candy.
What's really what it was, that's where you got to if you ever got flawless in trials. But now it's just available.
You know what I would love to see? The guy that's in the library or up in that tower, I would love to see him become the last bad guy. Okay. Because when you actually
he never gets the respect he always wanted.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Like he talks about Osiris like, did Osiris say anything about me? What did he say?
I'm his most faithful follower. And then at some point he's like, yes, you all get to see my knowledge. Osiris's knowledge.
He's his most neediest student, right? He's like, did he say anything about me?
I want to just see him become a bad guy. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's Curse of Osiris. We'll talk about the raid at some point, right?
When it drops, and we potentially complete.
Yeah, we gotta get it going. Life gets in the way, but other than that,
the raid drops as of today, Friday.
As of today, yeah. When this goes up, it should already be there. I work for a living, unfortunately, but
that doesn't matter. Call off work.
We'll have to get something done. All right, we'll hear you guys next week. Next Tuesday, we should be talking about like whatever. PSX, whatever happened during PSX. So, if you guys are going, have fun over there. Otherwise,
and when he says PSX, he means PlayStation Experience.
People get it.
Some people.
All right. See you guys next time. Bye.